Here we go.
Well, hello there. How is everyone? I hope you're all well. You're all looking absolutely amazing on this terrific Tuesday. Have to have a reference with me because I don't actually know what day it is ever, as you well know. But yeah, like I say, you're looking absolutely amazing today. So let's hope it continues as we head towards Halloween. That's right, baby. A few days away from Halloween, so I thought I'd put on a little bit more of a spooky vibe over the next few days, as we all love Halloween. We love getting the willies put up us, don't we? Enough of that. Anyway, what are we talking about? We're talking about Liam Payne again, because I can't help it, right? Yesterday, we did a video that is claiming now that there was footage. There was footage. 1 minute there's no CCTV. The next minute there is CCTV. They are claiming that this CCTV... it claims that it shows Liam Payne fallen. Yeah. And they're still pushing this narrative that he's passed out, fainted and fallen, which raises a lot of questions. Raises a lot of questions, don't it? Because as people with a working brain clearly knows, is that generally, if somebody passes out, their legs go out from under them. You know, the legs give away, and then you drop. You drop. Now, some people have pointed out that Liam Payne wasn't a scrawny little weed. Do you know what I mean? He was over 6 foot tall. So if he was leaning over the balcony. Now, if we just bring this up, these are the balconies. So we learn a lot from this picture here. Let's just look at this for a second. The railing would have been about waist height, say. Waist height on someone around 6 foot. So if he was leaning right over the balcony and then passed out, yes, he could have gone over, and that could have possibly led to a kind of a somersault effect through the air, which could account for some of the ways in which he landed, which some people deem to be a bit odd. But you know, if he's fainted then and fallen, in my personal opinion, it would lead me to believe that he was on the outside of this railing here. He was on the outside of it, which again kind of supports my theory in that he was being trapped either in the room or on the balcony and thought that that was a way to get out of a situation that was noted of being one that he would be uncomfortable in and could potentially exacerbate any feelings of anxiety. Maybe he was scared. But look, I feel at this stage, right, and this is only my opinion, I'm no one, but at the same time, I'm entitled to an opinion, and my opinion in this is that this seems to be a massive cover-up. A massive cover-up on 2 counts here, right? Because I believe you've got the hotel, who they're covering up their involvement. I believe, and this is only my opinion, is that the hotel knew that he had been given stuff that he shouldn't have been given by somebody who worked for them, and they were scared of getting information and proof of that on CCTV. Hence why their CCTV was shut down in order to avoid potentially damaging things being caught on camera. And as a side note, if you can hear any growling, that is the white cat growling at the other cat. As ragdolls for you. But yeah, so that's the vibe that I get, is that this was about potentially hiding Liam away from other people around the hotel being witness to something being said that would bring their name into disrepute. And I think this was about hiding their fuck up from the rest of the people in the hotel. And that's why he kept being ushered out of the way of everybody and the cameras shut down. Because my thought process is here, if you are concerned that your hotel could be damaged, this person could cause issue somewhere, then you would want that CCTV on, because you would want it as proof. It's a lot of dash cam, innit? Why do we put dash cams in the car? Just in case we're involved in an accident and we've got proof that, well, what we say is accurate and we can back it up with video evidence of such. And that is what CCTV is for. CCTV is what somebody puts in their properties, in their premises, to support them in their potential hunt for justice should something go wrong. But when you start to shut that down, that is indicative of hiding something that could bring you and your name into disrepute. So again, I do feel at this stage that this is some kind of cover-up on behalf of the hotel because the CCTV was shut down. I feel that the fact that Liam Payne was out on the balcony to start with and potentially was on the outside of the railing at the point where he apparently faints, and it's difficult, and it's catch-22 because you don't want to see it, but you feel like you need to in order to clear a few things up. This was said in comments yesterday, but also in this picture what we need to do, and we're going to get to something else in a minute because this is continuing in the media trying to force the fucking blame. But if we look where the pool is in comparison to where the balcony is, I think it's safe to say that nobody in their right mind would think that they could jump from the balcony up here into the pool over here. Not to mention that he had apparently put his hat on and his bag on, which again would indicate, yes, he's looking to leave. He wants to get out of the situation. He's put his hat and bag on. But there's no way that he was attempting to get into the pool. So let's scrap that for a second. If anything, if he was trying to jump off from the balcony and come through here, it'd have probably gone through this section here. But that's by and by. But what we also have over here is not this one. This here is where they're pushing that he had apparently resigned from companies that he had set up. It says was in the process of walking away from his failing solo music making enterprises on the day he died. So this, in my opinion, is the media's attempt to kind of portray Liam as someone who was failing. He was failing, everything was spiraling out of control, and this was why we have a situation that we have. And I feel that this is an attempt by the media to cover up the real issue here. You know, he had multiple businesses that he put his money through, which anybody who's got a fair bit of income coming in is likely to do that. It's how they can, various ways, I suppose, of avoiding paying certain taxes or keeping taxes down. But this is not indicative of anything other than him potentially being of sound mind on this trip and sorting out some of his business dealings that needed to be dealt with. So if anything, this isn't supportive or indicative of someone who was having some kind of break and, you know, and everything going wrong. If that's the case, then why would he have even thought that, oh, this is what I'm going to do, I'm going to log in here and start, you know, resigning from these different businesses? This was to protect him. This was to protect himself, if anything. So this is, in my opinion, supportive of someone who was not looking to do anything that would rid him from the planet. This was someone who was continuing to move forward and knew that certain decisions had to be made in order to be able to do that without potential financial repercussions that could factor into his life. So, good one, mainstream media. What you in effect is, by trying to push out that this was a troubled young man who, don't get me wrong, in the past he has had troubles, but let's not forget he was in a situation where the witnesses who have come forward seemingly would suggest that he was fine. He was fine 1 minute and then he wasn't fine the next minute, but we have no evidence, no proof of this period where he'd apparently escalated into some kind of manic state. We don't have any evidence of that. We have nothing, and anything that comes forward, even this last report, was indicative of somebody who was actually able to deal with their financial dealings. He had been in a situation where, yes, he had to be retained in the country because of visa issues, where he had again been honest about his past, and this had led him into a scenario where he had to prove his sobriety, which by all accounts he did. And the question has to be raised, as if you're in a position where you're in this country and you want to leave and get back to your girlfriend who you plan to marry in the future, why would you then risk this in this manner? Again, it does raise question on what had happened on this laptop. Is there some evidence in the background that would be able to support a narrative of a snap and we're going to go down this route? Because until I see that, this entire situation to me just don't seem right. And on two counts, we've got the media who seem to be trying to continue to push that this is a troubled young man who this was inevitability. And then we've got the hotel that, in my opinion, were just it's a massive cover-up. They're trying to cover their involvement and how they potentially played a massive, massive role in the death of this young man. That's just my thoughts, my tuppence worth, if you like. Let me know down below what you think, and I'll catch you all in the next one.